Hello, welcome to Just Scylla, a podcast about me, Scylla Ho, a perfectly imperfect woman who has transcended a lot of things to be who she is meant to be. I am not there yet, but I'm definitely on my way, and I want you to join me on this exciting journey for personal growth and discovery. There is a woman that can help me do that. She is amazing. She is a former journalist, a former news reporter, a columnist, and now she writes for my magazine, Gazelle Magazine, which is part of a bigger brand, Gazelle Media. I just love her because she will help you get to know me better. Her name is Diane Klein. Hi, Diane.
Hey, Scylla. So happy to be here. This is exciting.
I am so excited. This is a big day, and there's nobody who can help me get things off the ground than you.
Well, and I will tell you, there's no one who has more nooks and crannies and interesting things to say than you. Your whole life has been amazing. So I'm so excited to just explore that with you.
I'm so excited because every conversation I think that we've had has led to some kind of growth for me.
Wow.
We have a connection where I feel like I can open up about myself. And, you know, it's really hard to talk about yourself, but somehow you get me to open up. So I really want you to help me get this thing off the ground and tell people what they need to know about me through what you ask.
I love it. Why don't we start from the beginning? You were not born in America. Tell us about where you were born and how you ended up in America.
I was born in Zambia, Africa. I was there till about 12 years old. My father was an airline executive, so we moved to Asia, particularly India. And while we were there, it was really hard to find good English-speaking schools in the city that I was in. So I went to boarding school in England, and then in my 12th grade, went to boarding school in Kenya, in Africa, a British boarding school run by a really cool British couple.
I love it. And then how did you end up in America? What was the path to America?
So the year that I was graduating high school, Zambia Airways, which is the company my father worked for, liquidated. They basically TWA'd in, as an American reference. And that totally changed our life. Between waiting for everything to be settled and the time that I left Zambia, our entire life changed. We were definitely on the way to poverty.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And I knew, based on the things that I'd experienced, that I didn't want that for myself. I wanted a way to grow and empower my siblings, and I took a chance. It took a year for me to convince my father to let me come to America, which if you go by what movies show in Africa, it seems very, very scary. I mean, it's huge. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's huge. It's dangerous. But they persevered, and here I am.
Where did you come to America first?
The first place I arrived was New York City. So exciting. I wanted to stay there. But I came to Columbia, Missouri, where a friend of mine was doing her master's at Mizzou.
Had you ever heard of Columbia, Missouri before
No,
this?
actually, when I was getting tickets, I kept looking for Colombia, and it kept taking me to South America. I was literally looking for a direct flight from Africa to Columbia, Missouri. But what I found in Colombia was a place that was safe, that I could really get a start, and surrounded by fellow Africans who were really at school there, who helped me figure things out.
Now, this is the University of Missouri at Columbia.
This is the University of Missouri at Columbia.
And you were in the journalism school?
No, actually, I was not in school yet.
Oh, okay. You were just living there.
Eventually, I was just living there. And eventually, I moved to St. Louis. At that point, I'd gotten married. My husband's family was from St. Louis. We were on our way to Chicago and New York, and they convinced us that we were ridiculous. I was 19 years old. And somehow I ended up in St. Louis, and it's been 23 years. I'm still here, but I love it.
Tell me a little bit about when you made the decision to come to America, and were you fearful at that point? You were obviously driven. You saw what the possibilities were going to be without it. But how did you overcome those fears or whatever you were feeling?
You know, there's something about being in boarding school. I was in boarding school since 8th grade.
Yeah.
So basically, your parents put you on a plane. You go to a different country. You have to get from the airport to the school, which is usually in a smaller city. That had been my life for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Not to mention, I was the oldest of 5 kids. So already I had a sense of maturity, I thought at the time, I felt that I could be okay. I knew that I could make it. I just had to convince my family that I could.
That inner confidence, which, by the way, comes out all the time in you, just between your smile and
thank you.
the way you even phrase things, it's always there. Was that in you even as a small child, or was that something that through boarding school and other experiences you developed?
To be honest, I feel like it's in the last 10 years that I've started discovering who I am.
Yeah.
And it's been such an exciting journey. And what's been happening is as I discover who I am and feel empowered as a human being, my life is starting to be successful in the way that I envisioned it to be.
Well, one of the things you're very successful at is you have created a media company, the centerpiece of which is Gazelle Magazine.
Yes.
And we're about to have our 5-year anniversary, our 5th anniversary.
Oh my God.
Tell me where the vision for this came and what were you thinking at that time?
The honest truth was the vision for Gazelle Magazine came out of a tumultuous time. So I was a news producer. Then I started a PR company and started working with fashion brands and fashion designers and different things that led me towards fashion. So I created Missouri Fashion Week. Well, there was a St. Louis Fashion Week, which was entirely different. The short story is they were the power players in town. I was the little engine that could, as somebody has called me many times, and I got sued. But I didn't only get sued, they also contacted our partners and told them not to work with me.
Wow.
So I had hard things happening. I had sponsors falling off. It was really, really tough. I had a lawsuit on my hands. But the same reason I created Missouri Style Week, which we had to change the name, to empower those designers that didn't have the big names, the big family names behind them. The designers that I knew had talent, but they were not they did not come up in the right families. The same reason I created that was the same reason I decided to fight. It just so happens that the people who owned St. Louis Fashion Week also owned a magazine. So we got through the first year, we worked everything out. The second year, they sent me a cease and desist, which pissed me off. Like, I was so pissed off. So I'm having lunch with someone, and I'm holding the cease and desist going, I can't believe what they just did. I just don't know what all of that. And the person I was with says, well, why don't you just start a magazine?
I love it.
From a really place of anger. I was pissed off and I said, you know what? I'm fighting back. I've been quiet. I've let this run its course. I'm done. It's on. So I started a magazine.
First of all, tell me about the name of the magazine. But I also want to know, I love this idea of how angry you were and that was the power, that was the energy source.
It was the launching pad.
The launching pad. Does that happen a lot in your life, that when you feel really passionate anger or love, it could be, does that drive you? Is that one of your driving forces?
It's a huge driving force because I don't like to feel out of control.
Okay.
And my life will get out of control for a while, but I always fight through it and find a way to come back. And so that was such a terrible experience, and it was making me a bitter person. I was angry with the city that I was living in. I got to see the true colors of people when sides have, when things have to be divided. And the truth of the matter is they always pick the side that looks like it's got the money and the influence. It's never the little person. So
there you were, the little train that could, and you came up with this idea for the magazine. Why call it Gazelle?
It was called Gazelle so it's Gazelle Media. And then one of the entities is Gazelle Magazine because as an African woman, I always go back to how I was raised. So there's a fable in Africa that says that every morning when a gazelle wakes up, it has to run faster than the fastest lion to survive. And every day when a lion wakes up, it has to run faster than the slowest gazelle to survive. And every morning when I wake up, it's survival of the fittest. And I'm fit.
You are very fit and you are running very fast. Okay, so tell me a little bit about, you start the magazine and you're trying to compete with other magazines in St. Louis, and at a time when publications are not going to start doing well with the economy and everything else. What What was your driving force besides you're going to win? What for the actual magazine itself? What were you thinking?
It wasn't particularly that I was going to win. It was that I wasn't going to let them take me down. And something incredible shifted. If in your soul you are not meant to be vindictive, it can only last for so long. Somehow an evolution happened during that process. And I started talking to women and started realizing that first they were empowered by what they saw me go through, but that I had a real opportunity to do something amazing. And so we started Gazelle magazine with the intention of empowering women as best as we could, perfectly imperfect, because my life is anything but perfect. But I believe we all have something to bring to the world. And I'm doing it through Gazelle. And so it started as a fashion magazine, particularly because if you go to the grocery stores, people are attracted to fashion and beauty. But once you get into the pages of it, you start seeing the depth and the opportunities that are there for you as a woman to grow. And everything just started from there. So everything we do is geared towards helping people move forward, to self-actualize.
And now, of course, you have social media, you have a video channel, and other things are coming. You always are somebody who you have a vision. And where does I'd like to know where this comes from, your vision and you'll even say to me, yeah, Diana, I was thinking the other day about where I want all this to go and what I want to happen.
Yes.
You really think long term. Where does that come from?
I think it comes from pressure. We are at a time when we are all feeling the pressure of the internet. Everybody from retail, car selling, every industry, cosmetic surgery, beauty, fashion, everybody is trying to figure out where they land in the space of, in the digital age. And I think that we have such a great following with the print publication, but we also notice that the things that we are putting on our website daily are really taking off. The things that we post on our personal pages are really having an impact. So we went from being a magazine to being an influencer brand, to be a voice that people can listen to and feel that it can help them move their life forward. I don't necessarily think I know what I'm doing next. I just seem to know when it's the right time to make a shift. So I'm really surrounded by incredible women, including you, that believe in my vision and help it come to life.
And now we're at the podcast. Now we're doing a podcast because that's the next step. Well, how do you want the podcast to be different from the other parts in the media company? What is this going to mean to you and to the listeners?
This is a part of getting the different people that we have in the team. We have some incredible, strong, powerful, interesting women in the office, and we have these great conversations. And lately I've just been saying, what if we had cameras around each and every one of us? Can you imagine the growth that would happen? And so Just Scylla, my podcast, is the first of many things that are going to be happening in that video realm. You'll get to know the phenomenal people behind the media brand. And we just have so much that's ahead that we haven't announced yet. So this is a launching part for our digital elements.
And at the end of the day, especially the women, I know men also read Gazelle and come to our video, watch our videos, etc. What is the main thing you want everyone to take away?
My life, Just Scylla, because I dropped my ex-husband's name in this new time that I'm in, which is whole. I'm Just Scylla now. I want people to feel that even though their lives are not perfect, because as you get to know me better, you realize I am anything but perfect. But I'm human, and there are things that I know that I can do. I'm hardworking, I'm kind, I'm a mother, I'm a divorcee, I'm a girlfriend. I'm so many things that we all walk through as women in our journey to be better. And so hopefully through my experience and the conversations that I have with different women over time, the audience will feel like they grew a little bit.
I love that. We've come to the end of our time, and we can't wait to hear the next podcast and learn more about it.
Well, hello. This is just the beginning. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.